I want to tell you all about the ghetto version of the Little Red Riding Hood. It all started once upon a time. There was this mother, and she felt like her own mother was getting sick, so she told her own daughter to go send some food and deliver it to the grandmother. So the little grandmother, played by my younger sister, Crystal Ann Arnold, she's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go. I'm like, yeah. So she went on her way. Now this movie was recorded, and it was the first movie that I was in. I mean, first actual movie with a camcorder in this kind of way. I've been in Christmas plays and stuff like that before, but this is the first time in this kind of way in a movie, and it was with the camcorder that our father got us, me and my brother, for our birthdays, since our birthdays are in February. My brother's birthday is on the 5th of February. He was born in 82, and I was born in 85 on the 11th of February. And so we kind of get shared birthday presents. Usually we don't actually get shared birthday presents, but this was kind of like a shared birthday present, but actually it wasn't. I just kind of pretended it was my camcorder, but it wasn't. It was just mostly his, but I really wanted to have my own since I was 10 years old. It was my brother's idea. He kind of got it into my head. He was talking to me during the summer of 95, and he was like, man, you know what? We need to make movies. And I started thinking, I'm a writer. I could be a great writer for films, and I could be an actor too, and a producer and stuff. And so we got a camcorder, and my dad came home with a camcorder on the 1st of February, which is on a Thursday, and then Friday my brother was recording a little bit, recording my older sister sleeping, and then he went off to school, to high school, to Forest Grove High School. Yeah, I was born in Forest Grove, Oregon, in the United States, and he was off in school, and my older sister is she was 16 years old, and she should be in school, but she missed a bus, just like Lisa Avers, and I guess that's okay, because then they decided around a little bit after noon that they were going to make a movie about a Little Red Riding Hood, the ghetto Little Red Riding Hood, starring my sister, my younger sister. I only have 2 sisters, don't worry. It's not going to get too confusing. It's not like I'm that man who had 5 different brothers. My brothers Mo and Shirley and Harry. Oh, those are the 3 Stooges. I keep forgetting. But let me tell you all about the story of the ghetto person, of the Little Red Riding Hood. It all starts with the mother telling the daughter to go see the grandmother with a basket of goodies. And so she goes off, and it's a nice sunny day, and then all of a sudden she runs into the big bad wolf, which is played by me, and I just have this mask that I got from my maybe from my cousin Alan or something, for our aunt and uncle. What is it? Aunt and uncle, Karen and Jim Williams, from the coast, from Warrington, Oregon. But there is this mask. You have to go see it, and it's really interesting. But the mask is just like a bear. I think it's just like a bear. So I'm dressed up as a bear, but I'm pretending to be a wolf. So you have to use your imagination, and I'm wearing a coat. And I guess that's what wolves wear nowadays. They wear coats because they get cold sometimes in the winter. Even though it was not winter, it was the summer or something. Or the spring. It was a nice day, and the wolf comes up to the little girl and said, you know what? Your grandmother lives a long ways from here, far away. You need to take a shortcut, so you need to follow the roses, and you'll get there quicker. Now, I don't exactly know why, but I guess, I don't know if that's actually in the story of the Little Red Riding Hood. That's what she did, she just followed the roses, maybe she did, and that's how you get there faster. But it didn't really make her go faster, because the little bad wolf, he's a little bad wolf because I was little back then, only 10 years old, and I was kind of short little white boy who wanted to be in the NBA and black like Obama. And you know what? I'm a big bad wolf, with a bear costume, mask, and I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna go there, and I go there, and I go to the grandmother, and I start to I just pull at her. She had a scarf on. She had a scarf on, and I just pulled her out of her little hut. She lived in a shed, the back shed in our backyard that we made when I was younger, around 8 years old or so, a few years before that. We made a shed, and it was already leaking, because that's usually what happens with the things that my father would make. There would be problems it leaks or something, including the pipes and that too, the shed. It's a little room outside, next to the carport, next to the trailer, but in the backyard, next to the apple tree. And so that's where she lives. The grandmother lives in that little hut, little shed, and I come in and I take her and I kidnap her and I throw her in the front shed, which is like I guess it's the place where I live. So I guess I live in this other place with like a greenhouse, used to say, but it's actually this our carport, and I lock her in the shed. Here's the big bad wolf, and he's locking her in the shed. Oh my God! No more grandmother. But I just use like a nail to close the door, so the nail keeps the door closed. Like instead of having a padlock to close the door and lock the door, there's just a nail there. Because that's usually what my father uses to lock things, because he usually loses the key, and then so we just use other things to kind of pretend to lock things, like a nail, which doesn't actually lock things, but it keeps the door closed. With, if you're inside, you can't really get out unless you break down the door. But supposedly she could, but I guess he's sick, so he can't really break down the door because he's sick. So I go back and I pretend to be grandmother. And Little Red Riding Hood comes and she knocks on the door, but there is no door because like the door came off, so we don't really have a door. But she tries to knock on the door, and I tell her, I'm laying down on the bed, and pretending to be grandmother, and I'm like watching TV, and I'm like, I wonder if this has cable, and then she comes in, kind of, just a little, but she's still like at the doorway, and she's like, "What big eyes you have! Like the better to see with. Oh, what big ears you have. Oh, the better to hear you with. Oh, what big nose you have. Oh, the better to smell you with. Yuck. Oh, okay." And then she would look at the camera sometimes and smile, as a little like 6-year-old would, I guess, but or 5-year-old, and then she's like, "What big teeth you have?" And I said, "The better to eat you up." And I go up to try to eat her, but then grandmother comes out of nowhere, and she's like, "Wow!" And then she starts to kick me, and I fall on the ground, and she starts to kick me. The grandmother's kicking the big bad wolf, and he's on the ground, and it's like, "Oh!" And he's kicking the grandmother. The grandmother's kicking the wolf's ass. It's like on the ground, and everybody, it's really good, and because the grandmother somehow she gets out of the shed somehow. I don't know how she got out, but she got out. It doesn't really tell you in the story. It just kind of happens. It's like a big shock at the end, like a twist ending. You think it's a really sad story where the wolf eats the little girls. It's like I guess it's not a kid's movie if a little kid gets eaten, but then there's a twist plot, a twist plot. How do you say this? Twist ending. Oh my God, that's amazing. Everybody's happy, but the big wolf is so sad. He's just so sad. He's just very, very sad. He's just like, "Man, why did this happen? I don't know why this happened. I'm so sad." And the grandmother's happy, and the grandmother's like, "Okay, let's go back home. Let's go to your mother's house. Okay, let's go back to see mother, and I'm gonna let her know that I'm okay." And that's what they do, and everybody lives happily ever after. The end. And that was all recorded in the afternoon around 2 p.m. of the 2nd of February, 1996. Around my house, the trailer, space 163, where I was raised, in the Rose Grove Mobile Home Park in Forest Grove, Oregon, of the United States, USA. And that was the first full story that I ever made. Except that I didn't really make it. I was a star in it. I was one of the co-stars, since I was a big bad wolf, but kind of small, wearing a bear mask that we got from our aunt and uncle. And it's kind of short. And in the middle of the story, there's like some cars, and there's our current pastor at the time, Tom Harris. He's like in the middle, and that's kind of in the middle, but it's kind of for fun. So I think it's funny. I've thought about, taking that out of the video, but I guess it doesn't really matter. It's just kind of funny in the middle. It's like, there's a story about the Little Red Riding Hood, and in the middle you see this guy and my mother for a second. Like he comes out of the car, and my mother comes out of the car because sometimes he would take my mother places because my mother doesn't have a car, kind of thing. No, they were not having an affair. Okay, get out of my face.